I'm sure that many of you guys have seen it by now, but there is this big thing going around where everybody is trying to use AI, whether it's DeepSeek, Grok, ChatGPT, or whatever, in any facet of their life. And with this, that's got me thinking, well, I wonder what can happen when you start to use AI for stocks. Now, as we've discussed with this channel, we're kind of expanding a little bit. We're going to be discussing more things from home ownership to DIY repair, but we're also going to have a little segment about finance. So what I wanted to talk about today is where we're going to actually try and use ChatGPT, the premium version, to see what its picks are and can it beat the main markets like the S&P? Maybe it has better choices and can help grow a portfolio. So what we're going to do is over the next 6 months, I'm going to take $10,000 of play money and we're going to put it into a Google Doc. And what we're going to do is we're going to ask GPT to take a look at the market, do its research, right? Whatever that does. And we're going to tell it to give us some stock picks. From there, I'm going to take and allocate that play money into whatever stock GPT decides that it wants to have us choose. At the end of this, we're going to see, can AI be used in a productive way to help with your investment choices? Or is it just completely shooting blanks and no better than just picking stocks at random? Now, again, this is all play money, so none of this is real. We're just here to have a little bit of fun with this experiment. Maybe if this goes wildly successful, maybe I'll take some of my own money, we'll put it in there and see what it can actually do. So the plan is every Monday when the stock market opens, or towards that Monday, we're going to go ahead and we're going to update all of the prices. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to get everything set. So what we're going to do is create this Google Doc, which I'm going to put in the link below, so that way you guys are able to see the costs as well as where we're at. And maybe if you leave a comment, we could see if the AI is going to be willing to take your particular stock pick, or it'll tell us why it doesn't want that stock. So we're going to have a Google Doc that's going to keep track of all of the stuff that we're doing. On top of that, every Monday, like I said, we're going to go ahead and update all of the pricing and whatever percent change we get. Maybe it's up, maybe it's down. Who knows? There's only one way to find out. And then I'm going to make a video every Monday kind of going through what changed. Maybe we can try and figure out why a stock went up. Maybe we can try and figure out why a stock went down. The main goal of this is to see what kind of research can GPT do and how accurate is it? How accurate can it get? Maybe it's way better than I expected. I'm going into this as a novice when it comes to AI. I think it's neat. I think it's a fun toy, but maybe there's more to it. So if this works, we'll continue maybe seeing what other facets of life we can use GPT or another AI model for. So with that being said, let's go ahead and discuss a little bit more of the particulars when it comes to the actual project. So the first thing we got to look at is what type of GPT are we going to be working with? So when you go online, you're going to go right to the chatgpt.com. You log in, obviously, and then when you click over on the left side, you'll be able to explore GPTs. Now, when you do this, it's going to give you a variety of different models. So you can see here that we've got image generators, we've got DALL-E, we've also got writing, we've got productivity. There's a variety of things. But what we're going to want to look for is GPT Invest. And what everybody's told me is interesting and good to go with is this particular one. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at GPT Invest and we're going to see what we can get out of it. As you can see with GPT Invest, the reviews are actually pretty good. So we've got about 400 reviews and it's a 4.2. And pretty much when it comes to choosing which one, it really doesn't matter in my opinion. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and hit Start Chat. So it gives us a few options. We can either ask it to give us a diversified portfolio. It can explain ETFs to us. And it can also see what we should do to adjust our portfolio, or maybe we compose an aggressive portfolio. So what we're going to ask it is, we have, whoops, let's get rid of that caps lock real quick. So what we're going to tell it is we have 10K and we need to invest it in an aggressive method. The goal is to have at least a 8% return on investment. Please provide several stock options that would stack the stock options and allocate the funds as you see fit to optimize my return. All right, so let's see what it says. So again, we're gonna ask it we have 10K and we need to reinvest it in an aggressive method. The goal is to have at least an 8% return on investment and to provide several stock options to allocate our funds into. Now, 8% may not be the highest number, but I think it's a healthy number to push towards. Inflation has been kind of rough, but 8% probably is not going to happen, hopefully, again, on a multiple recurring basis. So if we can get 8%, I think that'll be in a great shape. So here are our options for what it wants us to take. So the first one, it wants us to put 60% of our money into Microsoft, Apple, and Nvidia. These all seem to be like they're in pretty good shape. I'm not entirely keen on investing in the AI part, but hey, this is an AI challenge, so let's go ahead and see what we can do. And then it wants us to put 20% of our money into Amazon. Now, it says that it dominates the e-commerce and has a significant presence in cloud computing through AWS. Now, I know that Amazon is pretty known for its hosting services, so that sounds like a pretty good idea. And then it also wants us to invest into Tesla. All right, let's see here. Now, we only would have 5 stock picks for this number. Let's see if we can maybe get it to bump it up a little bit more. Maybe we should diversify a little bit further. So let's ask it for 15. So we'll keep the original 5 that it gave us, but we're gonna have it bump up 10 more. The reason I would prefer to do it that way is to diversify a little bit further. So let's see what it gives us. So it's going to keep us with the same percentage of 60%, and it's going to have us allocate into NVIDIA, Microsoft, Apple, but then we're going to add on Google, Meta, and AMD. All right, excellent. So it wants us to put $1,000 of money into each of those. Then from there, it's going to have us go to Amazon, Shopify, PayPal, as well as a company named Block. Now, I did not know that Block was known as Square. I've seen that before, especially for merchants. If you go to farmers markets or any of those other vendors that maybe don't want to have like the full expensive POSs. And then it wants us to invest in Netflix and Zoom. Is Zoom still a thing? Like, I know everybody seems to be using Google Meets, but hey, I mean, if the AI picks Zoom, that's great. Let's see what happens. And then we're gonna go ahead and look at CrowdStrike and Palantir Technologies. Now, I'm not entirely sure what either of those are, but that's the purpose of this project, is we're going to have ourselves a diverse portfolio, and maybe we're gonna learn a little bit more about the different companies. So the next step is we need to find a way to track all of these numbers. So we're gonna create a Google Doc. And again, I want this to be an open source video. So we're gonna create the Google Doc. We're gonna put all of the stock picks and the allocated funds for those stock picks. And then you as the viewer are able to look at these stock picks whenever you want. And then we're gonna update every Monday to kind of see roughly what's happening with these stocks. So I'm gonna create that Google Doc real quick, and then we're gonna take these companies, put it into the Google Doc, and then we're gonna have purchased all of our all of our stocks. Now, with that being said, I know that there are a lot of companies that charge transaction fees for purchases and swaps. We're gonna pretend as if we're using Robinhood and not have that, right? I don't know how Robinhood makes their money with those transactions. I don't really care to learn how that is right now. So we're gonna pretend like that's a non-factor for cost. So that's gonna be a zero cost whether we sell or whether we buy. So just keeping that in mind, our numbers might be a little bit more skewed compared to like if you have a normal investment portfolio or a broker or whatever it is. So let's make the Google Doc and I'll see you in a few seconds. All right, so we have all of our paperwork out of the way. So now we can actually keep track of what's going on. So again, we have the Google Drive Excel sheet basically made up to where you guys can look at it any time. So we can see that from today, February 18th, we have all of our stock picks. One thing to note is that apparently Block is not SQ, it's gonna be XYZ. Not sure what that means yet, but maybe on the next episode, we'll ask GPT to explain a little bit more of what's going on. So we went ahead with Block Inc. as it suggested, put all of our purchases in. We can see these are all of the prices as of right now. I used Yahoo Finance, super easy, free, keeps track of it in real time as far as I'm aware. So Yahoo Finance gave me these prices. This will be the amount of shares that we purchased. As we progress through this is a learning opportunity for me, as well as just showing what can happen when we use GPT. I'm not sure how many decimal points when you're purchasing a stock you'll get, so I just let Excel do its thing. Now, if we need to round up, that's fine. We will adjust this as we go. Over here, we can see our total investment amount, and then we can look at the current price. The reason I wanted to have the total investment amount is because I anticipate over the next 6 months that the GPT is going to tell us to sell off certain shares and change some things in our portfolio. So I wanted to kind of see how much money did we start with in a particular stock or in a particular area. So that way we can see, well, where is it changing, right? Then we're going to see that we have our current price, the current valuation, and what's the percentage change. Maybe it went up by a good amount, maybe it didn't. Who knows exactly what's going on? Obviously, I have the money symbols in there. I'm going to switch that up in a few minutes. No big deal. Then we can see we have our total value of the portfolio. Again, it's either going to go up or it's going to go down. We want to have a good idea of which direction is it going to go. From there, we're going to have the percent change in the portfolio as well as the dollar amount change in the portfolio. I think that both of these are good metrics to keep track of, but in my mind, if you say that it goes up 2%, well, is 2% 20 cents? $2, $20, $200? How much is 2%? So I like to have the actual dollar number sitting right next to it so I can keep a good idea of exactly where we're going. Again, we're going to update this once a month or once a day or once a week, and we're going to see what happens. Hopefully, GPT is accurate and can make some good stock picks. If it does, again, maybe in 6 months, I decide, hey, we do this for real instead of just doing this for play, right? So again, I don't want you guys going out there and copying whatever this particular program decides it wants to do. I don't know exactly why it picked those stocks, but as we go through this project, we're going to ask it, why did you pick this stock? Why do you think that stock's better? Why should we sell? What are we going to do? This is an experiment. It's a learning experience. So every Monday, the goal is to put out a video discussing where we're at, what's going on. If you have any comments or suggestions, leave them below. Hit that like button. Make sure that if there's a particular stock that you want to have GPT ask about, or maybe it can add on to our portfolio, leave the comment below with the suggestion. And then in the next episode, we'll ask GPT, what do you think of that suggestion? And see what it does. So if you enjoyed this, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.